Greetings and salutations and all that fancy stuff. Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well, and just wanted to give you a kind of a summer shout out. I'm looking out the window, the sun's shining, the temperature. I've actually got a short sleeve shirt on today. The temperature's starting to get better here in Bismarck. Life is good and summer's here. Today I want to talk to us a few moments about a subject that's important to all of us, and that is the future. Specifically, we as leaders, and we're all leaders in some form or capacity, specifically in us as leaders creating a better future for the people we love and serve. Now, of course, keep in mind that I'm framing my remarks around specifically to people in ministry, and specifically to the amazing North Central Region ministerial team. I salute you guys and gals. You're doing a fabulous job. I see great leadership throughout the region. And so I'm specifically framing my remarks to them and to people in the ministry, but these principles will work for everybody. So anyway, let's jump right in. And I want to start, as we talk about creating a better future, with a question that kind of sums up everything. It's a question I ask myself regularly. It's a diagnostic question that keeps me on track. I hope you will adopt it and make it your own. And here's the question. Ready? Are my actions today creating a better future for tomorrow? Are my actions today, the decisions I'm making, the deeds I'm doing, is what I'm doing today creating a better future for tomorrow? After all, at the core of leadership, that's the assumption. People hitch their wagon to us under the assumption, operating under the belief that I see something in this person that I believe if I will follow them, they will lead me into a better future. But here's the rub. You and I both know this. Life comes at us so fast. It is so complex. There's so much noise, so much clamoring, so many little things coming at us every day. If we're not careful, trying to juggle all of this stuff, we will get so obsessed with the moment that we forget about the future. And so we're just trying to get through the day. We're just trying to get one thing done at a time. And we forget that intentionally or unintentionally, everything we're doing is seeds. We're casting seeds into the future. And the future will be no better than what we're doing today. What is it? The second law of thermodynamics. If anything left to itself will slowly and consistently become increasingly disorganized. And we can't afford our future to be just left by itself, unto itself, and we just show up and hope there's going to be a good future. We as leaders must be intentional about creating a better future. And so here's the formula that I go by, and I'm going to go kind of opposite, I guess. I'm going to picture us getting in our car and driving to church on Sunday. Followers experience the present. They just show up. Maybe they should be prepared. They should prepare themselves, and some do and some don't. Maybe they put praise and worship music on in the car as they're coming to church, whatever. But basically, they just show up. When they get there, managers have to be there to manage the present. Somebody had to open the door, turn on the heat or the air, turn on the lights, plan the music, plan the sermon, plan the lessons, plan the potluck, whatever it is we do. Promote if there's something to promote, prepare the bulletin. All of that requires managers managing the present. But there's one other thing, and this is the critical factor. All right? Long before that Sunday, hopefully a long time before that Sunday, there was a leader who visualized it, who planned it, who every Sunday can't be the most important Sunday of the year for everybody, but every Sunday can be the most important Sunday for somebody. But the only way that happens is not that we run on autopilot, but that there was a leader in the mix who visualized, who saw well in advance and planned accordingly. So here's the formula. Okay, going backward now, or in the right order. Leaders create the future and act accordingly. They're like Joseph. They see the future and they plan accordingly. Or like David, long before Solomon's temple was ever built, David had planned it, he had financed it, and Solomon stepped in as a good manager and built it. But it was planned accordingly, way ahead. Jesus, while he was doing all of his public ministry, if you'll notice privately, he was preparing his disciples for the day when he would be departing. And so leaders create the future. They see it, seize it, and create it, and they plan accordingly. Then they raise up, and they have to do some of this themselves, but they raise up a great team who plans the present or who manages the present. And then the followers just show up in their experience, whether it's church or a restaurant, a grocery store, whatever. Their experience is no better than the leader who saw it and created it and the managers who managed it. And so let me give you I want to give you 5 practical steps for creating a future, for answering the question, are my actions today creating a better future? Or to put it another way, when I look at my people, the people that I love and serve, are their lives better now because of the future I created for them? I want to help you to be able to answer in a positive, optimistic, affirmative way both of those questions. Looking to the future, is my deeds today creating a better future? Am I doing what I do on purpose? Or looking at the present, are the lives of the people I love and serve better today because of decisions I made in the past? So here's my advice. Five steps, and I'll just try to run through them because each one kind of could really be a lesson in and of themselves. But number 1, invest in yourself. Your ability to create a new and better future is no better than your ability to grow. You got to grow to see a better future. You can be great at something now, but there will come a time when what you're great at now will not be good enough. You can be good. You can be good at what you've always done, but there'll come a time when what you've always done will not be good enough. We've all seen leaders who stop growing. They may still be moving. See, growth is the fuel that fuels the engine of a better future. And you can see people, they're still moving, but they're just doing what they've always done. They're coasting. They're not, because they didn't grow, there's no better future for the people they serve. Invest in yourself. Carve out time. Do not allow the urgency of the day, all of the emergencies of the moment, do not allow them to rob you of that quiet time where you invest in your own personal growth. Number 2, and this is so crucial and critical, keep the people you're leading before you at all times. Remember, you are called to disciple and equip people. It's easy if we're not careful. Let me just read it to you. If we're not careful, a win will become about preaching a great sermon. When we see the future, we see a great sermon. We see ourselves in the pulpit. No. A win is not preaching a great sermon or pulling off an amazing Sunday or outstanding event. A win is witnessing the lives of your people getting better. That's what leadership is about. That's why we do what we do. And so grow yourself. Number 2, keep the people you love and serve before you at all times. That's why you're doing what you're doing. Number 3, plan the future by planning your calendar. Plan it out at least a year in advance. Now, if you're not already doing this, you can't do it overnight, but just every day begin to plan a week or 2 at a time. If you do one a day, in 2 weeks' time, you can have if you do 1 or 2 weeks a day, in about 2 weeks' time, you can have the whole year mapped out. And then you'll begin to get more specific and you'll get better at it. But plan your year themes and you look at what needs to happen for my people's lives to get better. You have to be in touch with them and their needs and God's plan for their life. And then you begin to you let your calendar reflect God's priority, the future that he's given you. Let your calendar reflect that. And here's one of the great unintended or intended consequences. You can decide. But when you begin to plan your calendar and let it be known, then your team can begin to plan accordingly. So you begin to set boundaries. Instead of this murky swamp of an uncertain future, man, you've created a future. This is where we're going. And then resources and talents and time can all be brought to bear in your life. Instead of a murky swamp, there's a river that's taking your people somewhere. Your people can plan accordingly. They can budget their time and their resources accordingly. So invest in yourself. Keep the people, not your program or your preaching. Keep the people in front of you at all times, their betterment. Number 3, plan your calendar. Capture the future by putting it on your calendar. Number 4, and this is very preacher specific here, but I encourage you to plan your Sundays a year in advance. Now notice here that I didn't tell you to plan your sermons a year in advance. That's part of it. That will certainly be part of it. But that's not enough. You're not just a preacher. Remember, you're the leader. And being a leader includes being not only the preacher, but the worship leader, the event coordinator, the fundraiser, the promoter, the recruiter. If all you're doing is planning a sermon, then you could go from week to week. But if you're planning the next Sunday to be the Sunday of a lifetime, it won't be the Sunday of a lifetime for everybody, but it could be the Sunday of a lifetime for somebody. Next Sunday can't be the most important Sunday of the year for everybody, but it could be the most important Sunday of the year for somebody. But if you do that, it's going to take a while. It's going to take recruiting and planning and budgeting. It's going to take promoting. It's going to take doing a lot of work. But that's what's required to change people's lives. And so let me read this statement to you. Your people must see a brighter future at church than they do somewhere else if you hope to get them there more than enough to assuage their guilt. Oh, people's going to come to church some. They're Christians. They're good people. They're going to come to church some. But there's people out there that are planning and competing with you to get your people's lives and their attention, their time, their dollars, their talent. And if you're going to get them on Sunday, it's going to require you working hard. And that's going to take more than just a few last minute details and getting up and making a few announcements and throwing together a potluck at the last minute. No, you've got to plan well in advance. And here's another thing. Your people will come to church because they just come to church. But if you want them to invite people, then you've got to give them something that's worth them inviting people. That takes planning. And so think about it this way. A lot of times church is kind of like a date night. And if you have a date night, that's good. Sonja and I have a date night. But there's been a few things. When our 10th anniversary, we planned a trip to the Caribbean. We had to work hard and save and plan. Our 20th anniversary, we went to Colorado. We'd always dreamed to go to Colorado and see the Rocky Mountains. Now I see the Rocky Mountains on a regular basis. But when you're from South Carolina, that was a big deal to us. When we were at our 30th anniversary, we went to Ireland. That's the memories of a lifetime. Our 40th anniversary, we spent right here in the great NCR. And so we went to Yellowstone. And I know it's ho-hum out here, but that's something we'd heard about all of our life and so Old Faithful. I was almost going to call it Old Yeller, Old Yellow. But Old Faithful, the Grand Tetons, we made plans to go and see Glacier National Park. Huge. It was huge in our life to just really enjoy that. We went down to Red Lodge and I won't get into all that. And then as soon as the 40th was over, we started planning for our 50th. We got plans for our 50th. At the first of every month, I have a little fun. Our plans, I've created a budget. How much do I need to save over the next 10 years, and we're already, we make a little deposit in this fund, and we're planning on our 50th. Every Sunday is like kind of like a date night. It's a drive across town. And that's good. Every Sunday can be a date night for most people. But there's anniversaries every week. There's special moments in every person's life. What if you were planning every Sunday to be an anniversary Sunday for somebody? And even the date nights, you were raising the level where people are looking, I'd rather be at church. Man, this is so big. I want to invite people to be there. And it's not about just getting people in church. It's not about just growing your numbers, but you are creating a better future for your people so that their lives can be better, so they can be discipled and equipped, and people's lives can be changed, and people can be saved. Even their eternity can be different. And so that requires you planning your Sundays well in advance. I would encourage you, number 4, pastors, plan your Sundays a year in advance. And then number 5, this may sound a little counterintuitive, but don't overplan. Don't become slavishly committed to your plan. What's the saying? You plan and God laughs. And what I'm talking about here is intentionally plan margin into your life. Every day, every week. Plan plenty of margin into your life, because the unexpected does happen. Emergencies do occur. And so if you plan far enough in advance, then usually less is best. If you work for 52 weeks on one Sunday, giving every week, giving a few minutes to that Sunday for 52 weeks, then by the time you get there, you have created something that is magnificent. And so plan plenty of margin in your day, in your week. Don't overcommit or overplan. Become slavishly bound to getting so much done every day. Usually less is best. All right, there you go. A few days ago, I just got back from the Montana camp meeting, and I invited some special friends of Sanj and I, Jonathan and Christy Sawyer. And I was privileged to be their pastor for several years. And Jonathan was on staff with me. He was my worship leader. Great leader, helped me to plan a great future for our people. And then just a top-notch manager. I could the things that under his care, I didn't worry about it. He got it done. And then Christy, her life, being her pastor. And as I was sitting there listening to them as they were talking about our time together there, and they began to highlight different things and events and how they had grown. And I looked at their lives, and now they're both ministers. They both Christy has an amazing ministry to ladies. She preaches and teaches all over the country now. She's an author. And Jonathan, they both work at one of our largest, most prestigious churches in the Church of God, and really the North Cleveland Church of God in Cleveland, Tennessee, the longest continuing Pentecostal church in existence, not just in our denomination, but period. A great church. They have great influence. Their future. I say this giving God all the praise, but it was so rewarding to sit there and listen to them and know that I had a small part to play. Their future is so much better because David Kemp came into their life. And I did it on purpose. I did it intentionally. It wasn't a haphazard. I was lucky, but it required planning. It required discipline. That's what we do, guys and gals. It's not an ego thing, but I want it to be said of you and me. When they came into our life got better. I want to one day be in that throne, around the throne, and see one after another come up, and they point at you and me and say, I'm here partly because of them. If they had not done what they did, my future would look a lot different today. That's what life and ministry is all about. What's the question? Are the things I'm doing right now creating a better future for those that I love and serve? If not, And maybe everything won't be. But if most of what I'm doing and you and I are doing is not creating a better future for those that we love and serve, then why are we doing it? All right, there you go. Love you guys. Let's keep running to win for the gospel's sake. See you around the bend, this beautiful country that we call the North Central region, and wherever you live and serve. God bless you. Godspeed.